With the current Formula 1 cars sounding like this, it's easy to forget just how good Formula 1 cars used to sound. So let's take a trip down memory lane and listen to some of the most glorious engine sounds ever created. In number 10, we've got the Honda RA272 from 1965. This car was Honda's first F1 victory, winning the Mexican Grand Prix in 1965. It was also powered by a 1.5-litre V12 engine that emitted an impeccable noise. Listen to this. This engine was so advanced for its time that it had 4 valves per cylinder and a variable intake system. It also had a very high compression ratio, which gave it a lot of power and torque, especially compared to its competitors. In number 9, we've got the legendary Lotus 33, driven by Jim Clark, who won the championship in 1965 with this car. It had a 1.5-litre V8 engine that sounded lovely. Here's a sample. This engine was developed by Coventry Climax and was originally designed for fire pumps. It was very light and compact, weighing only 112 kilograms and fitting inside a suitcase. It also had a very low center of gravity, which helped with the handling of the car, which ultimately led Jim Clark to that championship. In number 8, we've got the Brabham BT52. The Brabham BT52 was one of the first turbocharged F1 cars. It used a 1.5-litre 4-cylinder engine that produced over 800 horsepower. It also happened to shoot huge flames from the exhaust and made a wonderful noise. This engine was supplied by BMW, and it was nicknamed the Grenade because it was very powerful, but it was also very, very unreliable. It could reach up to 1400 horsepower when it was in qualifying mode, but it also had a tendency to explode. In number 7, we've got the classic Mercedes-Benz W196. This engine was used in 1954 and 1955. The Mercedes-Benz W196 dominated the early days of Formula 1 in the 50s. It won 9 out of 12 races that it was in. It had a naturally aspirated 2.5-litre straight-8 engine that made a thunderous noise. This engine was based on the one that was used in the Messerschmitt fighter planes for World War II. It also had a desmodronic valve system that allowed it to rev up to 9,000 RPM without valve bounce. In addition, this car had direct fuel injection, which improved its efficiency and its performance. In number 6, we've got the Minardi M191B from 1992. Now, this was not a very successful Formula 1 car, but it did have one thing going for it. It had a Lamborghini V12 engine that sounded insane. Now, here's a look at how this thing sounded. Now, the engine was designed by
Mauro Forghieri,
who had previously worked for Ferrari. It was one of the most powerful engines on the grid with over 700 horsepower at 13,000 RPM. It also had a distinctive red color and a bull logo on the cam covers. Now, coming up to one of the more modern engines on this list, we've got the RB7 from Red Bull in 2011. Now, the Red Bull RB7 was one of the most dominant cars of the 2011 season. It won 12 out of 19 races with Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber, and it used a 2.4-litre V8 engine that had a high revving and raspy sound. Just listen for yourself. Of course, this engine was supplied by Renault, and it was quite notably one of the most reliable engines at that time, and it also had a very clever exhaust system that enhanced the aerodynamics of the car. In number 4, we've got the McLaren Honda MP4-4. The McLaren Honda MP4-4 is widely regarded as one of the best Formula 1 cars ever made. It won 14 out of 16 races in 1988 with Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. It used a turbocharged 1.5-litre V6 engine that sounded incredible. The engine was supplied by Honda, and it was one of the most advanced engines of its time. It was also more fuel efficient than its rivals, which helped it save weight and win more races. Alright, coming up to our podium spots, in number 3 we've got the Ferrari F1-87 from 1987. This car was another turbocharged V6 car, but it had a very distinctive sound that set it apart from the rest. It was loud, it was raspy, and it was aggressive. The engine suited the red car perfectly. Here's how it sounded. Of course, this turbo V6 sounds miles different than the cars we've got today, and this engine was designed by Franco Rocci, who had previously worked with Ferrari's V12 engines. It had a twin-turbo setup that gave it a lot of boost and power. It also had a unique firing order that created that distinctive exhaust note. Now, in number 2, we don't have a car, but we have an engine. We've got the most successful engine in Formula 1 history, the Cosworth DFV. Now, this engine powered many different F1 cars over the years. It was a naturally aspirated 3-litre V8 engine that was reliable, powerful, and great sounding. It won 115 races and 12 drivers' titles with teams like Lotus, McLaren, and Williams. Here's how it sounds. This engine was developed by Keith Duckworth and Mike Costin, who founded Cosworth. It was funded by Ford, and it was the first F1 engine to use a monoblock design that integrated the cylinder heads and the block. It also had a very simple and elegant design that made it so easy to maintain and tune. And finally, our number 1 spot goes to the Ferrari F12 T2, the last F1 car to use a V12 engine. The 3-litre engine in this car generated one of the most amazing sounds I've ever heard in my life, and it truly stood out from the V10s that had become commonplace at that time. Just listen for yourself. Of course, this is my favourite engine. Yours may differ. Let me know down below. This engine, though, was designed by Paolo Martinelli, who later worked on Ferrari's V10 engines. It had a high revving nature, reaching up to 18,000 RPM. It also had a very smooth and linear power delivery, which made it easy to drive, and it was also very reliable, suffering only one failure during the season. So there you have it, the best sounding F1 cars of all time. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe for more content like this one. If you do wish to support the channel, please check out one of my other videos, such as my top 5 modern F1 races video, which you can see on the screen or down below in the comments.